Welcome back to Boredom Sated. I'm Michael.
And I'm Boris.
And today we're going to do a brief overview of the content inside Wizards of the Coast's newest product, the bestseller, by the way, at least on Amazon, shameless plug there, Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. Now, this whole book is, it's quite pretty. The art inside is very nice. Some of them look like they're painted or watercolors. And this book is separated into 5 chapters. The first chapter has a lot of the player, is for players mostly. It has a brief introduction to what Ravenloft is, and introduces things like new lineages, like the Dempire, which is basically a half vampire. Think Alucard from Castlevania, or Blade, or Vampire Hunter D.
Right.
There's also the Reborn, which is someone who just refused to die, is brought back somehow, and is changed and haunted. And then there is the Hexblood, which is part hag in their blood, giving them mystical advantages.
Right.
Then there's the 2 subclasses. Go ahead.
Right. I just wanted to point out that this is the first book that has lineages in 5th edition. So I think because it is the first book that has that, I mean, I really found it interesting the way they did it, and it's very unique to a degree of how they're utilizing it, and people should really take a look at it, because I think they're gonna start releasing books with more and more lineages, and it's interesting how they utilize that. But anyway, go back to the 2 classes.
Let's go to the Bard class, or the College of Spirits, which is absolutely, the way they use the Bardic Inspiration dice is absolutely fantastic. It's one of the best new additions It's very atmospheric, it's very role-play worthy, it's wonderful.
Yep, I think it is. It's definitely, if not the favorite, the second favorite Bardic subclass out there. Yeah.
Then they also have the for the Warlock, they have Undead Patron. Considering how popular Undead are, whether as villains or as something that you could utilize as a character class, I'm surprised it took this long in the game development to introduce it. But whatever. This one was not bad. I thought it was. Actually, we're just here to tell you what's there, not our opinion in this one.
Right.
In this section also includes Dark Gifts, which is rather interesting mechanic, unique to Ravenloft, and further backgrounds and horror trinkets. Whole page of that. 2 pages actually, all those.
Right.
Then we're moving on to Chapter 2, which is how to create your own domain and Dark Lords. This is very pivotal because sometimes, no matter how many flavors of domain that they present, there's always an itch within every dungeon master to create their own stuff and something unique. And we have history is replete with villains. So many, it's not even funny. And a lot of these Dark Lords are actually based on either historical villains or fictional villains. Then it goes in the same book. In the same chapter, they go on to genres of horror. Here they go into depth with the various categories: body horror, cosmic horror, dark fantasy, folk horror, ghost stories, and gothic horror.
And I do want to point out that they do present charts to sort of give you that random effect to help you create your setting.
Yes.
If you are if you're just interested in creating it on your own, they do give you different charts. I mean,
Yes.
most of them are small die choices, but it gives you some randomness to what you want.
Now we move on to chapter 3. This is where domains, actual meat and potatoes of this whole book is. These are the domains where these tortured Dark Lords live. And in this one, 17 domains are highlighted. 22 of them are just sort of mentioned. These only have like a paragraph each. And they also include in this important NPCs that are mostly heroic NPCs, like detectives or active warriors of light and such. And of course, the aforementioned Van Richten, who is the most famous combatant of evil in the realms.
Right. And they do go over all the lords as well, and in quite reasonable depth, even to the small list of 22 subrealms.
Yes. Then we go to chapter 4. Chapter 4 is the horror, the techniques of horror. How do you elicit fear in your group? Here they have how to prepare and how to prepare for horror adventures, how to set the mood, and they introduce the curse mechanic, which is very evocative. There's a lot of curses going on in people under curses, or in the Dark Lord's backgrounds, and it's a very nice mechanism, I thought. Either as a role-playing aid or something that can be actually used in as something that players might come across. Right. And of course, they have an actual adventure, which is actually 20 pages long, and it's actually really good. This one is called the House of Lament. It's an adventure, and again, it has a very nice and of course gothically horror-based backstory to it. And finally, we get to the 5th chapter. The 5th chapter is monsters, stats galore.
Right.
Here you got some interesting denizens of darkness. What did any of them strike a fancy to you, or at least a?
I have to say that I mean, all of them are in line with what you would expect in Ravenloft, yes. But their biggest monster, which I thought would be actually the biggest monster, is actually not. It's only a CR10, Dolhen, which is a medium undead, which is pretty much the Headless Horseman for all intents and purposes. Yes. And the reason I liked it, I'm not sure. I haven't looked through all the adventure books, but I have all the other books, and I haven't noticed any books that had Mythic Actions. So I'm wondering if this is the first time they've introduced that as well.
Yeah. If you don't know the Mythic Action in this particular case, the Headless Horseman is called, in this one, it's called a Dullahan, which is I believe it's a Celtic from the Celtic mythology. And basically, it's what you'd expect. It's a headless undead rider that haunts the roads and bridges and such. And this one haunts bridges. And in this case, when you get it to 0 hit points, it immediately heals, and then gets access to 2. It already has legendary actions by itself. The regular 3 legendary actions. Now it gets more options. Those are considered mythic actions. They now have the option to utilize. I don't remember seeing that anywhere. We might have missed a book or two. Maybe it's there, but yeah, I don't agree. I don't.
Right. So that was my favorite, even though I was like, wow, this is great, Mythic Actions, and it was only a CR10. And then the ultra powerful creatures here, which were the greater star spawns, which are all challenge aging 19 and then 21. Yes. They don't have Mythic Actions.
So they have legendary action.
They have legendary, but you'd expect legendary, but they don't have mythic action.
Yeah, they don't.
Which was just surprising.
Yeah.
If you are introducing it as new, why not have the most powerful creatures have some of those? But whatever.
The only thing I can think of is it's not only a matter of power, the challenge rating, but also just the background of the creature. It might not be as powerful as something else, but it's just legendary. Like if Grendel, I think that's a CR 19 in some cases, whatever it is, but he is a legendary monster, so he might be more powerful than another CR 19 or CR 20, whatever else in comparison. Just because he's a named guy. All right.
But the other creature that I think would be the most fun within this book, from a role playing at least perspective, is the brain in a jar.
Of course. That literally is a superhero trope, pretty much.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
It's a horror science, brain in the jar. Yeah.
But to play the superhero trot, remember they do have one of the dark powers. Just wanted to throw for all of you Spider-Man fans. They do have a symbiote.
Oh,
so
they do have a symbiote. Yes. That's totally true. All right. So that is the content of what's inside Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. It's essentially a second part of the Curse of Ravenloft series, I guess. I think they might make another one if this is popular enough. I think it is because it's like a bestseller right now. At least for the first week it's out. Well, the first one being Curse of Strahd, which is a module.
Yeah.
And
well, come on, Ravenloft was so popular in second and third edition. I would be totally surprised if it was anything less than as well as it did.
Yeah, I feel that they're probably going to flesh out a bit more. One would hope, at least the other realms, but they just mentioned them here in a paragraph. So, it is what it is. So that was our overview of this new book. And as always, if you enjoyed it, hit a like, subscribe, hit the notification button, and we'll see you next time. Oh, there's going to be a second part of this overview, except it's going to be our review with our pros and cons and our personal rating and opinion on this product. Stay tuned for that. Okay?
Well, thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.